and what I also say is that your love language will change over time. I know some people think that because different seasons, different things have happened, and don't be surprised if a different one. What is it?
So, all girls have somebody with the all girls have a week. And that we can get to that place.
So appreciate y'all for pulling up to the wind down. I'm still looking for a word of the night. If you got any word of the night ideas, and tonight I do have my wine. If you was here last night, last week you seen Nina throw me a Capri Sun. That was not okay. But tonight I got my wine, and I'm looking for a word of the night because we have Relationship-Strategist CheVaughn Johnson on the line. She is about to give you guys some great tools to use in your relationships, or to help somebody else, or just to have a good conversation, honey, because that's what we do on the wind down. So I'm excited to be here tonight. I'm excited for you guys to be here tonight. I had a pretty good day. While we waiting for a couple of people to get on, waiting for Trina to jump on, I'll tell you guys, today I took a meeting today considering different ideas as far as my business goes and how I want to proceed. And it was just very, very inspiring. And then I left that meeting with a lot to think about. And I came home and I see a job opportunity for some more real estate work. Hey, Josh, welcome to the wind down. Thank you for coming. I see some more, another job opportunity for some real estate work with the government. And it's just exciting to feel like I'm really flowing in my passion. I'm really flowing in what I love to do. So it just feels so good. I don't always talk about my business and things like that on the wind down, but I'm excited about what's happening. I'm excited about what's about to happen because I definitely feel like some great things are starting to fall in place for me that I've been working on for a while. But then I told you guys last week I got my new office set up. I'm excited about Jenna. Jenna's traveling. They bought a new house in Florida, so they're heading to their special place. But man, I told you I feel bossed up here. So anyway, I don't know if I'm liking this Facebook model yet. If y'all, I know Erica, Siobhan, Charity, all my regular wind down crew members. Can y'all let me know what y'all think about the Facebook, or do y'all like the Instagram vibe? Tell me what y'all think about it, because I don't know yet. I keep having technical difficulties with Facebook. Angel, I was watching this video just a minute ago, actually, on first of all, before I get to my video, why Mary J. Blige have to steal my show idea? I don't know if y'all seen that. Now, I love Mary and I love BET, but they stole my show idea. And Nina had the nerve to say, oh, Nina just logged on. Nina had the nerve to say that they didn't steal my idea. Everybody do a wind down. All right, Trina's on. Let me bring her on. Welcome, Trina. How you?
What's up?
How was your day?
Today was a first of the month at the bank.
Oh, yeah.
So you already know. Have my direct deposit here yet? Do you see it? Do you see it?
That thing
what you calling me for?
That thing got absorbed from the late payments.
Right. I don't think all my money came in. Oh, it did.
That thing got absorbed from late payments. That's something. Sure, you breaking up a little bit. I don't know what's going on. For the first time, I can say it ain't me, because hers broke up last week too. That's how I know it's her. But we got CheVaughn on. Look at Trina, I'm sick of you. Is that that's Casamigos? Is that
Casamigos?
So we don't wine on Trina's side. We just do tequila. We go straight to the tequila. I got me Pinot Grigio tonight, honey. I'm fancy. Because last week Nina threw me a Capri Sun. So I gotta be grown tonight. I'm gonna let y'all know I'm ready tonight. Still waiting for a word of the night, man. Y'all not talking to me tonight. All y'all saying is y'all can hear me, but I need y'all energy tonight because I had a good day. I'm excited about today. Excited about what's to come in our lives. Hello.
Hello.
Excited about what's to come. But anyway, she said a well-deserved Capri Sun.
I mean,
Well, no, it was not well-deserved. I feel like, you know what? We're going to just keep that into last week because I'm not going to be happy. Hey, Carlina. Hey, my boo. I stay showing my king and queen love and support as it should be found. Also, happy Women's History Month. Happy Women's History Month. Thank
there
you,
you
Josh.
go.
You always pull up and represent. Josh, one of my industry partners, he do a lot of great work. If y'all don't know, Josh, you can get pretty much anything you need for your house. But correct me if I'm wrong, Josh, but he's doing security systems right now. So if you're in California, and I say correct me if I'm wrong because I don't know if you do national or not, and you're looking for security, reach out to my boy Josh. He can look out for you. That's Josh Casey on social media. So yeah, he'll hook you up. One of my chief brethren. But Carlina, good to see you again. It's been a little bit. Today is going to be a great show. Without further ado, we got our girl CheVaughn Johnson on here. We're going to talk about some relationships. CheVaughn does relationship counseling, so I'm sure she got some pretty good stories. Hopefully she's willing to share some of her good stories from some of her sit downs. Look, Trini already drinking.
We talking about relationships. I need a drink first.
Hello. Hello. I need a word of the night. How about we go with my husband? What's a good word of the night, Trini? I need something.
Yeah. Oh.
Oh, this now. Oh, I'm also doing a cussing challenge with Nina. So every time one of us cuss, we get 25 cents a quarter. So I've been working on it. Yeah, I am. I'm already up. I had to send her a request. I had to send her a request for my my $2.50 today from yesterday, and she sent it to me. But anyway, I don't want to continue to not bring CheVaughn on. She definitely has a word for us tonight. So let me go and find her on here so I can bring her. I'm still kind of getting used to this Facebook. I'm not sure if I like it. Looking for some feedback from the original WineDown crew. What y'all think about the Facebook move? Y'all liking it, or y'all want to go back to Instagram? Hey,
Hello.
I'm sorry. Hey, CheVaughn. So CheVaughn is a best-selling author. She has been involved in writing 2 books. You want to tell the name of the book, CheVaughn? Because I only got one.
So the first book is Possibilities Unlimited. Man, I just drew a blank. There's another part to it.
Girl, I
In the
got
second
Possibilities Unlimited. I could have gave that name.
yeah. And then the second one is 14 keys to see, you know what? Hold on, because threw me off.
Been drinking. Hold on. What's she been drinking? I want some of that.
CheVaughn, what you drinking tonight?
That look like some moonshine.
Just Kool-Aid. This is Kool-Aid.
Oh, I thought it was some moonshine. I got excited.
Nah.
Oh yeah, Carlina said she don't like how the comments. Thanks for the feedback, Carlina. I'm still on the fence on whether or not I'm liking the Facebook model. CheVaughn, you were original. What you think about the Facebook versus Instagram?
So I can't really work Instagram that good, so I'm kind of partial to Facebook.
Okay,
so
okay.
Just because I can't. That's all.
All right. Well, CheVaughn, since we got you here, why don't you tell the people a little bit about yourself, what you do, how you help people, you know, a little bit about your business as a relationship strategist, and what is a relationship strategist?
Okay. All right. So my name is CheVaughn, also known as the Relationship Strategist. And so what I do is I empower Christian couples who are in committed relationships to strengthen their partnership and eliminate unhealthy behaviors through the use of effective communication. So it's all about communication, but not just communication, effective communication. I help people see things from a different perspective, help them piece it together. What I find is that oftentimes couples are saying the same thing, but they're arguing because they can't hear what the other one is saying. Look at she's sipping. The way that that way that they
You
want
said
to hear
relationship.
it. I did. And you just sipping, you know. And so, yeah. So and then if you feel like you're on the brink or it's about to be over, come see me. because you're probably missing something, and I could probably help you see something. Just have another perspective and have some consideration before you throw in the towel.
That's
Oh, and
awesome.
is you want to know what a relationship
Yeah.
strategist is.
Yeah.
So, all right. So, a relationship strategist is it's a little different than a coach. So, you might have heard the word coach. I don't coach. So, strategists usually can see the bigger picture. And so, what I do is I can see the end from the beginning. So, I can see the end of it, and I can give you look at you. I can give you the roadmap to get to where you're trying to go. And a lot of times, I'll give you piece by piece, like this is what you should do. Now, I can't make you do it, but I can give you the pieces that if you follow it, you'll be successful. And I do take your goals into consideration, and I might offer you something along the way. And then it's closely, so I heard you mention earlier that I do counseling. I'm not licensed yet. I am a marriage and family therapy student. So I do, I'm trained in that. But more importantly, honestly, it's a gift that God gave me. And so I've been doing this for as long as I can remember. Not officially, but it's just something that the Lord gave me, and he called me to be a therapist. And so he's given me the skill set since I was a little girl.
Awesome. Yeah. Dang, I just had a good question. So one thing that I noticed, CheVaughn, whenever we bring people or like just in conversations, right, people have a habit of talking about, what I would have done or what I did, and I find that to be an issue because a lot of people who have questions today, and I went and I asked a few people sent me questions to ask you today, but it's not so. I guess from the perspective I'm asking for, it may not be a situation like they've already messed up. The person has already done the wrong thing, and that's how we get in a lot of these relationships in these situations. The deed has already been done. I wouldn't have never cheated, so we wouldn't be having this conversation. Okay, well, we've already cheated, so okay, how do we get through that? So I think from a perspective, what I'm asking for is can we discuss that? Like, it's not just so much of what I would have done. It's okay, now we in the mess, so how can we get through the mess? You know what I'm saying? What do you think about that experience, and what do you think about what I just said?
I'm glad you actually asked that question, because a lot of people, you're right, they'll tell you from the outside, look, I wouldn't have did that. Okay, here we are right here. So you have some decisions to make. So you need to evaluate where you are. Getting clear about what your end goal is probably key. So what do you want? Some people from the outside might tell you, girl, leave. He done left, or man, leave. But you don't know what's going on in that dynamics. Depending on, because to walk away from a marriage is different from someone that you're dating, or you're not committed, that you're just committed to, and you don't have that marriage bond. And so that's a lot different. In my eyes, and just so where I'm coming from, you make a vow between you, your spouse, and God. Okay. And so the Lord does tell us about divorce, and I hate divorce, but he did also put in that caveat, I gave you, the permission to have a divorce, because of your hard hearts. So we know that. So I think a lot of times we're dealing with what I should have, could have, what I should have, would have, could have, because people try to live vicariously through you. Okay. And sometimes we're going to tell you to do some things that they wouldn't even do themselves.
They wouldn't do. You're right about that.
Girl, wouldn't even do it themselves. And so they're pushing this thing on you. So you need to be very clear about what do you want? And it's okay if you want to stay with your spouse because they cheated. Now, what I will say is that there has to be some behavior change. It can't just be, okay, we're going to stay together and just want to keep crying about it, if they continue to do it. But if you want a change, put some things out, okay? And so have some expectations, and then seek some help, because sometimes people need to have some outside help in order to make that change. And so expect the behavior change, and people can change. I'll say that too. Don't think that once a cheater, always a cheater. That's not always true. It's up to the individual.
What do you think about friendship groups? Is it like, I know a lot of people say like, I want to have I only hang around married people or whatever. What do you think about even going to friends for advice on your marriage?
So you have to figure out what type of friend is that. Like, we all got categories of friends, all right? And so sometimes you hear people saying, oh, I only want to take advice from married people because I want to be married. Okay, you don't know what's going on in that marriage, okay? And so that marriage might be toxic. It might be some stuff going on. So just the notion of because you're married doesn't necessarily mean that they're a good person. Use wisdom. Seek wise counsel. That's what the word tells us. Seek wise counsel. So be very discerning about who you go to, and take it, and then just kind of, make your own judgment about it. Yeah. And I wouldn't also remember that people are skilled. Just so, for example, I haven't always been married. I've been married. I've been divorced and remarried again. So and I didn't lose my gift, and so I can help you in each one of those seasons. Sometimes people think that just because you have gone through something that they can help you. Well, a lot of times if they're going through it, they probably can't help you through it. So just think of it that way. And remember that people have skills and gifts, and it doesn't necessarily go away based on their status, whether they're married or single.
So I had a question that came in about, you are a Christian relationship therapist, strategist. What do you think about, how would you counsel a person who's married and the wife, she's very active in church, wanting to be in church, and the husband is choosing not to go to church at all, and there's a conflict in that situation? What advice would you give to that couple in that situation?
So when we talk about church, I'm all for it, assembling with, each other. But at the end of the day, a relationship with Christ is better. The relationship over the religion aspect. So you have to examine, what do you want? Do you want somebody to just physically want to go there and sit with you? Okay, that's fine. Or do you want someone to try to build that relationship with Christ? Now, if they are a believer, start talking to them about their beliefs. This is what I had to learn too, that people don't always believe in the same manner that you do, but it's okay. And I don't mean that they don't love God as much. I just mean that the relationship with him and how they express it might be a little bit different. And so pray for your spouse, pray for your partner, so that way, because God will either talk to them directly or send someone their way, so that way they can receive it the way that they need to receive it. Amen. Just because you're with somebody doesn't mean that they're going to receive and act the same way that you do. So just kind of keep that in the back of your mind. So avoid kind of, speaking negatively to them. Because I'm going to tell you, there's stuff that I went to God like, oh man, I can keep my mouth shut. But the Lord then talked to my husband, and later on he came back and told me some stuff, and I'm just like, thanks, Lord.
Yeah, that already have that for you.
Right.
Man.
No, that's good.
What about advice for pre-marriage counseling? As people are getting ready to enter marriage, do you have any tips or anything that they should be looking for prior to getting married?
Absolutely. And I also, you can go to a therapist, you can come to a strategist, you can come to a coach. There's like assessments that you can take. Now, these aren't tests, but they're just kind of assessment. For example, I'm qualified to give an assessment for SYMBIS, which stands for Saving Your Marriage Before It Starts, and Prepare Enrich. And it just, what it does, two people come in and they take this test, not test. They go and fill out the survey online, and it'll come back and give you some results, and it'll tell you some areas that you might want to look further into. And then it'll tell you some areas that you're growing and you're doing well in. And so what I would say is seek out, seek something like that out prior to. But what you want to do is you want to lay everything out from the beginning. If you can, ask them hard questions. Don't be afraid. Don't think that I'm being overbearing, or but I don't want to ask this. I'm gonna run them off. I'm gonna run her off. Well, if they're gonna run off because of some questions that you're trying to ask to gain understanding, you might want to think twice about if that's the type of person that you want to be with.
What would be considered a hard question?
Let's see. So sometimes people think that just the fact of asking someone where they see this relationship going, or whether or not they want to be married, is a hard question. Because they're like, oh, if I talk about it, then he or she, they're going to run off. Okay, you need to, if that's your goal and you want to know, ask it. And ask it. Me personally, I'd rather know up front than later on down the line, making an assumption about, I know where I stand, but I'm trying to assume where you are and walk on eggshells so I can say the right thing. I don't want to do all that. Yeah. Just ask up front and let's get the conversation started.
Yeah, sometimes I have a hard time, expressing and asking questions. I'm more of a, let me just let God deal with it. Hopefully, it'll come back around type of person. From your experience, what do you feel like a fair success rate is for a person who is cheated, and you trying to get that relationship back on track, but the other person is scoring, especially like in the case of a man versus a female, and the female cheated. I've noticed that a lot of the time men have the hardest time forgiving in that situation, but I'm not sure. But the people who I've talked to, it seemed like the men have a harder time forgiving the woman for cheating. But nonetheless, can you be successful after that type of trust is broken?
Ooh, absolutely. So yeah, and you're right. I absolutely have seen where it seems like the men have a harder. Hold on.
Oh, you might have to go handle that.
I need you to go upstairs. Just grab her. Oh, I'm sorry.
We out here. We out of there. My brother said if they cheated, we out of there.
No. So, but if you want to work, that it comes back down to what do you want, and but both people have to be on board. A lot of things factor into. You can't just say, let me put this in before I forget. There has to be some forgiveness that takes place. Okay. So forgiveness for the person that cheated, forgiveness for yourself, because sometimes you'll blame yourself. How you'll start to say, how did I let this happen? Or what did I do? Or why wasn't I good enough? So forgiveness for yourself, and then make a decision, because the ball's in your court. You want to fix this? Go seek some help. But it can be fixed, if that's what you're asking me. Absolutely.
Just everybody got to be on board with getting it fixed.
If they want to, because you can only control yourself. Now, that other person, you can want to try to control them and make them want, but if they don't want to, they're not going to.
So, you're a Christian relationship therapist. I'm just laughing at Al. He's talking about we definitely out here cheating. Shrinda said men can't handle that. They'll leave, but they'll come back when they get hungry, like Mama used to say. They'll come back when they get hungry. Trina, send your request to come back, because I don't know how to get you back. Let me see. Yeah, try to see about coming back in, Trina. They'll come back when they hungry. But yeah, I done lost my next question because of that. Yeah. So I'm sorry. Y'all look so good, Black Queens. Thank you. Chris done pulled up. Welcome to the WineDown. Okay, I'm gonna go to my next question on the thing, because I had a question on that. Oh, okay. So you're a Christian therapist, but I do have friends that are in poly relationships. How do you address that? And another thing, I just want to say this, because I don't think this is a question as much as a comment, right? Poly is not, I'm just sleeping around with a whole bunch of people, okay? Because I know a lot of people that's intrigued with the idea of having multiple relationships and being in multiple relationships and cheating. That's not poly, so y'all need to figure it out. But anyway, do you counsel poly relationships, or that's not something you feel comfortable with?
So as a strategist, I personally don't take poly people, because that's not what I wouldn't be able to, no, as strategist. Now, when I become licensed as a therapist, if someone comes to me in that, you're not telling it, my beliefs have to go to the side, not completely. So everybody has a inherent bias, so to speak. But when you are dealing with the relationship, you deal with the issue, okay? And so it's not for me to judge whether or not I think they should be in a poly relationship, for the simple fact they make that choice. Okay, they're in here and now they're coming with a specific issue. And so if I can, depending on what the issue is, if I'm able to help them with that issue, I'll focus on the issue and help them through that issue. Let's say it's communication or cheating, whatever the case may be. Now I would have a hard time if they said it was cheating, just simply because if you're with other people more than one,
it's rules.
Okay.
Said she can't handle one. I feel you. I can't either. Like, I mean, I told my sister today, I said, I don't understand how folks cheat, because I got Nina. That's a whole thing right there. Kiana said, absolutely not. Absolutely not what? Cause you said absolutely not. You ain't down for the poly, or you ain't down for the cheating. You ain't coming back. Which one are you talking about? Hey, CheVaughn, you made a comment about where people can go to look for those pre-marriage questionnaires. say what those are again?
Oh, you would have to do that with someone who's trained to give it, because
Okay.
it comes they'll assessment back to you and help you through it. So you can look it up if you want to have, like, they have some sample questions on there if you want to just get an idea of what some of the questions may be. But as far as getting a look at the whole thing, it's someone who is trained on it. I'm trained in it, so someone who's trained in it can give you that assessment.
Okay. Carlina says she can handle 2. So how many you got now, Carlina? So, we can let the people know if you got any space. So the people can know. She says she can handle 2. When one side is not. Okay. Next question. So money. People say that money is one of the biggest downfalls in relationships, but the scenario is the wife making more money than the man. So this is the scenario. I'm just gonna have to break it down layman's term, right? So a friend of mine, yeah, I agree with you, Darian. We need to know what these credit scores looking like. But so the wife is out working and she's making the most money, and a lot of her money is going to the house. But the husband has an issue with how much she's working and the things that she does. She sees it as insecurity. But her whole thing is, if I don't work, we don't eat. How do you balance that conversation? And what advice would you have for somebody in that scenario?
So that right there, you have to address. Okay, so they're saying, I don't want you working so much, but I need to eat. You're the only one working. So you're going to have to make some decisions. Are you going to go out and get a source of income? Whether it's, there's many ways to get income. Are you going to bring in some income to kind of supplement my time away? Do you want to switch roles? Or what is the real issue? Are you saying that is the issue, Ro, that it's simply because they don't have enough time at home?
Well, the word time didn't come up. I think that the wife's angle is it's more about jealousy. And there's men out here too. And I know that I see it on Instagram. I see different. I would like to know if you are male and you have an opinion on this. The women working and making the most money, and when they're not at home, how does that affect the household? And how would you receive that? And what advice would you have for that woman who may or may not be on here right now that is working, trying to provide, trying to do everything right, but is still getting beat up? Because I say beat up in a way that they're not making their spouse happy because they're not giving that time at home the way that spouse would want them to.
Yeah, so I wonder if that's the real source then, because now that I'm listening to you again, you didn't necessarily say that the man isn't working or isn't bringing in income. It's just that the woman is bringing in more. So what's the real problem? Because I know right now what I hear a lot in different spaces is men think that now this is not all men. Some men think that say that they can't handle a woman making more than them, like if they're in a relationship or if they're married. Well, if you guys you have to come to some type of agreement. Do you need to downsize your life so that way if he feels like he needs to pay all the bills or whatever the case may be, or do you really need to take a look and see what does it mean to provide? Is money really what you want to do to provide? And if so, you might want to find a woman who is okay with that, because women have different definitions of what it means to provide. It's not always monetary.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. Sometimes I get because I do the most, and it's definitely not always money. But a lot of people have been on this love language book. I know I've read it, and I agree with a lot of the theories in it. What do you think about that that book? And what advice would you have? Would you recommend it as a reader for a new relationship, or what are your thoughts?
I do like that book, and I have read it. What I'll say is, don't let that be your meter of who you are exactly. It could be a guy. And then what I'll also say is that your love language will change over time. I know some people think that because different seasons, different things have happened, and don't be surprised if, a different one, what is it? Gifts is higher on the list this season than words of affirmation, whatever the case may be. So it can change, but don't let that be, this is who I am type thing. But it is a good guide to try to figure out who your partner is, because at the end of the day, and this is what I'll say that's good about it. A lot of times we try to give the other person things that we actually want and not necessarily what they want or what they need. And so to give you a good look at, okay, if you and your partner take this, read the book and you figure out what your love language is, then you'll be able to cater to your spouse or your significant other. Because at the end of the day, relationships a lot of times are about compromise. I know that's a trigger word for some people, but compromise is not necessarily bad. And so that's what it'll allow you to do. It's a starting point.
Trina, do you got any questions particularly for CheVaughn, or like any scenarios? I have more. And people are but Darian said, hey, the number one question is what's your credit score? What's y'all's number one question for the crew? What's y'all's number one question for relationships? When you enter into relationships, what's important for you to know prior to moving forward in that relationship? I think my number one question, I think that credit and money is definitely important. I definitely think I need to know how you manage your money. But I think my number one question would probably be like, how do you treat your family? And if you have kids, for me, if you are somebody who have kids and we are in a relationship together and you are not taking care of your kids, I ain't never seen them kids. You talking about the baby mama or baby daddy, I don't care about none of that. If you are not in your kid life, that for me is it's a no. It's a no. There's no if you tell me, yeah, I got a baby, I got a daughter, I got a this and that, and I ain't never seen your kid, if we've been dating for 3 months and I never heard you say I had the kid, or whatever the case may be, to me that's the first out for me.
I agree. Well, I'm single. So my first question be, how single are you? Because these days they don't really be single out here in these streets.
What's
so
that
before
question,
we
Trina?
can even entertain any other type of conversation, I need to know. Yep. Oh, I like Sharonda said, have you ever been with another man?
Hey, Atlanta folks need to know. Inquiring minds want to know.
Inquiring minds. I think for me, I like to know, like, how do you handle hardships or difficult situations? And a lot of times you can't really ask that because they're not going to give the true answer. You have to see that.
Yeah.
So that's something that I like to look out for, because we're all going to deal with some valleys in our life or conflict situations, and how somebody deals with that and how supportive of a partner they are when you're going through those things is very important to me.
What type of valley would you be see, like, if they lose their job?
Yeah,
what would be
all that? Just those unforeseen circumstances, loss of job, loss of life, when people really can detach themselves sometimes when it comes to grief, and that relationship never gets back to where it is because they don't know how to let people close anymore. So just all of those life events, I would say, I want to see how you handle that.
Yeah, I'm gonna read some of the comments. Janet said, what's your score? It's hard for me to read, guys, because on this phone, so bear with me. What's your score? I most definitely need to know your finances. Absolutely. Hey, because Janet is a hustler. One thing Janet gonna do is
she don't know how to
so I ain't even mad. Like, one thing for sure is Janet is gonna get a check. You know what I'm talking about? You know what I'm saying? So, hey, huh? Hey,
I said, yeah, don't get to that bag.
She getting to the bag. So, hey, I 100% believe that anybody that mess with Janet, they better be bringing in $1 or $2 as well. Sharonda said, yes, what is your relationship with the kids? Janet said, right, that's a no. She was referring to the relationship with the kids. Shantia said, are you family oriented? That's a good question. Like, how do you treat your parents? How do you treat your sisters and brothers? What type of relationship do you have with them? Because I see that if you go throw your family away, they can make a mistake, and you can be like, I ain't messing with that dude, or I know how I would say it, but I told you I'm not cussing no more. But if you can throw your family members away, I feel like, or not be there for your kids, I know that I can be on the chopping block at any minute. Trying to say another question is, also, have you ever been with another man? Hey, in Atlanta and California, these are the two places you got to ask that question. Like, because I need to be able to choose. You could be bisexual. I ain't mad at you for being bisexual, but I need to know. I feel you, Sharonda. Charity said it is important to know about the person's past relationships before getting in a relationship with that person. So she want to know why y'all break up in the first place. Somebody was out there cheat. Somebody was out there fight. You done beat somebody up. You know, we need to know.
Yeah, I like to ask, what have you learned from about yourself from your past relationship? Because a lot of times when people start talking about their past relationships, they're pointing to figure out what the other person did. So I want to know, what is it about you? Was it something that that you grew from? Like those type of questions. And we need to know if we need to be looking behind our back for a crazy baby mama.
Exactly. But I find it's funny, Trin, whenever you ask somebody about their situation, their past, they always, not always, but when a person just talk about the other person and what they did and how yeah, I'm like, so what did you do? I ain't do nothing. I look at I'm not saying that you always have blame, and Siobhan, you can definitely piggyback off of what I'm saying. I'm not saying that you always have to accept blame, because people have their own responsibilities. But I always find it funny when that person always blames somebody else. Like, for me, that's a red flag. What you think, Siobhan?
So I agree with you. But I think it's in the manner in which they do it, because sometimes people do get left and they really didn't do anything that was negative. So that is the truth sometimes. So depending on how they're talking about them, you got to kind of discern, like, okay, is there something up with you? And then I think some other clues will kind of tell you about that person as well, not just that conversation. But if they steady dogging them out, ask more, details about it. And sometimes you might see them, they just get angry when they hear the other person's name, or the name called. It depends on how mature they handle it, and it's okay that somebody know, hey, this is what happened. But like if you said, if they're constantly bringing it up, and this is like constantly what's on their mind, and they haven't gotten over it, and it's just like, okay, you bring that into this, what unresolved issues do you have from that past relationship?
Exactly.
Because sometimes people they project.
Yeah.
They might look at you and they think that something is a red flag simply because they saw something in a past relationship. So they'll automatically, when they start to see something, instead of having conversations to figure out what the real deal is, they'll just go down that road. Oh, they just like such and such. So you got to really, you just can't go by what they're doing, but you kind of got to dig into it.
I'm gonna say this again for those of you who don't know. On the wind down, every time you hear the word relationship, we are taking a sip.
What you say?
Wine.
What you say?
Casamigo.
I think you said relationship.
I heard say wind down relationship like 8 times today. So 8 times in that last year. What, Trey?
I said I went ahead and finished it for y'all.
Carlina said, what are your goals? She needs to know what that person's goals and aspirations are. That's important for her. It's funny on that because, I talk to people and I realized that I am a very goal-oriented and driven person. I know that, I believe just based off of some of the conversation I have, I might be a little bit extra in that category. Because I have actually had conversations with people, and first I thought it was crazy, but they were like, "Oh no, I'm good." Like you ask them, like, "Hey, so what are you trying to do? Like, what do you want to do? Where do you want to be?" And they be like, "Oh no, I'm good." Like they are good, like for real good. And I'm looking like, "What you mean you good? Like I understand you good right now." In my mind, this is where I used to go, but I had to learn. I'm learning that some people are really just good where they are, and they ain't looking for nothing else. They happy working their 9 to 5, coming home. But for me, I need to feel if I'm pushing, I need somebody to have the drive to push me, so we can push each other. So. That question would be important for me also, Carlina. But what do you think about that, Siobhan? Because I do think that there are way too different type of people when it comes to that scenario.
Mm-hmm. So that for you, that's going to be a requirement. So whoever you're going to be with, just be upfront with them about that. And I say a lot of things that if you know some things about yourself that's very, very important, express that right up front. Let them know, hey, this is what it is. Let them know what type it is. So you would tell them, hey, I'm goal oriented, I'm driven, and find out how they feel, and find out whether they're the same as you, like whether they're as well. Because you said for you, that's what you need. You need someone who is also goal driven. So if you've made that decision that, you know, the person that you're going to be with has to be goal driven, then that's a weighing factor for you. Now, what I will say is that sometimes you'll get with someone and maybe they don't meet all the standards or things that you set up with, but you got to make a decision is, are you willing to put up with who they are? Because we expect people to change a lot of times, and you can't, you know, change comes naturally. What I will say is it's reoccurring all the time. But as far as their personality traits, their characteristics, they're only going to change if they want to. Now, you can inspire someone to change based on you, or if they love you, maybe they'll want to, because sometimes they need to change because it's better. Yeah. You know, like you'll aspire to something better. But don't just expect that I'm gonna change them. I don't like the way they are. I'm gonna go ahead and be with them, but you need to change to fit my criteria. That's not right.
Let me backtrack. I don't have to have somebody goal driven. I do have to have somebody that does have a purpose and have confidence, but they're okay with me being goal driven. Like, just because you are comfortable, I'm okay with that because that works better for me. I told that to my wife one time. But you know, it's okay to be comfortable. But let me explore. I need for you to give me that freedom to do that. So again, that's Angel said, I think I would want to know first, what's your goal while dating? Are you looking to have fun, serious, manage? Then I know how to move forward instead of finding out later, years down the line, and be on the same page. Yeah, for sure. You know, I always say it's 2 criteria that have to be met. I need for you to show me that you want me, but I also need for us to be clear, like, are we in a relationship? Because we never confirm verbally, if we never verbally confirm that we are exclusive, I cannot assume it. You can tell me, don't I treat you good? Don't I do all this? But no, we're going to have that double confirmation, verbal confirmation, and also, you know, you showing me that you care about me and our relationship. I think that's important.
Absolutely.
Janet said again, I'm matching whatever. Do you hear me? I'm matching whatever. Do you hear me? I think she's talking about the hustle. Janet is a hustler. Yep. She is. Go cousin. Everybody loving Janet. Sue said one question she needs. One thing she got to see and hear is, how does that person treat their mom? How does that guy treat his mom? What do y'all think? How important is that for y'all? Because I've seen some mamas that be just doing the most. But in spite of, what do y'all think about it?
It got to be a good, healthy boundary.
Trina, speak on. I know you got it. I ain't gonna ask your story. I ain't gonna ask you to put it out there.
But tonight, I said, yeah, we don't have time for that tonight. But yeah, no, those in-laws, yeah, we need to know how you're dealing. How you can't have them all up in our business. I need to know how you are with relationships as far as when it comes to your family. Because that's another thing from what we was talking about earlier about talking to people and friends. Because when you move on and you decide to, you know, stay with that partner and work that thing out, the people that's close to you, because they on your side, they still holding those emotions. When you done called me and dogged him out, and I'm ready to go put the ski mask on, now I got to hug him at the barbecue like everything
good. Yeah, and that's tough too. I have to figure out as a friend, like, you got to stay neutral, because I used to wrap myself emotionally in people's stuff all the time and be like, wait, he did, we're not doing that. And I feel like I'm in that's not my business. It's not my place. It's my place to support my friend and whatever it is that they're going through. But when you put your friend in all your mess, you can't be surprised when you talking about getting married and how great he is, and they like, girl, he was just cheating. He was just with, didn't he beat you the other day? I skipped that. I didn't say it. Then he whooped you the other day. Like, you can't expect your friends to be done let that go because they didn't get the makeup. And that goes back to the conversation we had a couple of weeks ago. I'm sorry, CheVaughn, but we had this conversation a couple of weeks ago where we said, you know, you have the conversation, people don't get to see that makeup period or how you made up, or the forgiveness, and all they get to see is y'all kissing and calling again. But you put them involved and they was ready to fight. They was with you busting windows out of the car, flattening tires. Hey, you know. But they was with you, pulling up, we cussing you out, we showing out at your job together. But then all of a sudden now y'all kissing next week because he done brought you some flowers, but you ain't brought me no flowers, you know. But anyway, CheVaughn, what you think?
Oh yeah, I didn't been on the receiving end of that to where like a friend tell me something that was going on in a relationship or whatever. The next time I ask about it, that oh we back together, girl, and I'm just like, huh? Like I didn't get the memo, you know? Like they talking, you know, I'm like saying stuff about the guy or whatever. She's like, oh we back together. So what I learned is just that I'll let you vent like as a friend, but I can't get as emotionally invested because I don't know what you about to do. And then, like you said, you ain't give me the update, so I ain't know we was back friends with. I ain't know that.
Still cussing her mind. I'm still cut. We still cut. We still. Hey, we meet up on Saturday because we about to go show out over his mama's house. You know what I'm saying? Hey, we in this thing together. But yeah, I do. But I do think like paying attention to how, back to what Sue's question, I think that paying attention how he treats people is important to me. You know what I mean? If I see that person always in some argument, always fighting or fussing, something's going on with that person. You know what I mean? And I feel like eventually that's going to show up. So regardless, you know, they treat their mom with respect. That's very important. But treating their family, sisters and brothers, like I said, if you're willing to throw your kids, sisters and brothers away, to me, it's a no-go. If you disrespectful to your mom. But I also believe that everybody in your life have to have a certain level of boundaries when it relates to your relationship. So, you know, regardless if I have a friend that I have to vent to, I need to know that my friend understands that you don't get a vote. I just need to. You don't get a vote in how I proceed.
I ain't survive.
Huh?
I said this ain't survival. We don't.
No. Like I choose, but you know, I might need to. You know, I might need to get some stuff off my chest. At the end of the day, you know, I ain't going nowhere. We stuck together, but you know, I might need to get stuff off my
question.
Go ahead, Trey.
And this is for me. I'm asking this for me. Okay. So is it ever a thing as being too honest in a situation? I am an open book. I believe that honesty is the best policy. I'm going to tell you like it is. What you see is what you get. You ask me a question, I'm going to answer it. But not everybody can handle those responses. So is it ever a situation that you feel that you should hold back some information?
Oh, that's a real good question, Trina. You just put me on. But it depends on, you got to kind of evaluate what type of person you are, because like you said, you're an open book, and it depends on whether or not you want to go for, okay, I'm just going to show you who I am, and I'm going to say what I need to say, and then however you take it is how you take it. Or if you're going to take that other person's feelings and interest in consideration, there could be a balance. You could do a combination of it, but it's really up to you. But the other person, they have a decision they're going to make too, right? Do I want to take this person who's an open book, or and maybe it's the way that you say it. Maybe you might adjust the way you soften the blow up a little bit, maybe, or maybe you just like, nah, because I see your face right there, Trina. You like, nah, I went through some stuff.
Like, I'm like the sweetest person you're gonna meet in your life, but it's more like about your past. You know, so some people, I don't care about your past as long as you've healed from your past. Like that's what I want to know, like that you've grown and you've healed and you can handle another relationship. That's what's important to me. Some people want to know like details about past situations, and to me that's relevant. As long as you ain't bringing no STDs and situations up in here, then that's all I need to know. But if some people want to know those things, and to me, I mean, because I don't want to know, I guess when they ask me, I'm gonna tell you, but I don't think they really want to know.
Can I speak on that?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm sorry, Siobhan, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I think it's a balance, Tree, because while you're in that question and answer stage, they have a right to ask those questions so that they can accept whatever it is that's coming.
Yep.
Right. But I also think that without lying, sometimes everybody don't get everything. You know what I mean? Like regardless of what, you know, my past is my past, and while I do think that your past build you to who you are today and it changed, I think that there has to be a layer of trust before everybody get a certain part of you. So they may ask the question, but it don't necessarily mean that they deserve the answer. And I don't think you have to lie about it, but I also don't think that everybody should be able to just ask and get any part of you. There has to be a boundary with you and a certain level of trust with that person, so that when you say it, you can feel protected and safe with whatever answer. You get what I'm saying? Like,
I like what you said.
you gotta feel like once I say that I slept with 45 men, you're not gonna be attacked. Right. You gotta feel safe, you know, like, what you mean you done slept with, you know? Because people act like that, you know what I mean? Like, they surprised by your answer to the point to where they feel offended, they feel mad. But you don't get to be mad about my past. You can feel how you want to feel, but you also don't always get to have to give people that access and that privilege. While I believe in being an open book, I also believe in protecting yourself and making sure that the people who you are telling, they deserve that information, you know, to a certain extent. That's just my thoughts.
No, I like that. I like that. Because sometimes people will ask you things, and like you talked about the expectation, they just expect that you're supposed to tell them and give them the answer. But sometimes, and that's why you got to weigh it and see what type of person they are, what their motives and intentions are. Because sometimes people are asking you because they're insecure. Mm-hmm. They just want to ask. I need to know this. Why do you need to always know? If it's a matter of, it's control, that comes down to control. Do I need to control?
You hit them 2 words. You already. Okay,
yes.
You did.
Control. So if you sense that, or you know that they're just doing this for control, then you put up that boundary, like Bro was talking about. Put up that boundary. Okay, listen. I done told you this. What more do you want? What is your point? What are you asking me for? Ask that question. Mm-hmm. What are you for asking me this question? What are you trying to get to? Sometimes no questions won't stop, and then that can get unhealthy. Right. You know? Mm-hmm. So I agree with you guys. It has to be a balance and boundaries put up.
Yeah, that can. Like, people feel like they can just keep digging and keep, like, you tell them, yo, I slept with 40 men in my lifetime. You know, what's 40? I'm 40 years old, so that ain't nothing but, okay, let's say I started when I was 18, 20. That ain't for 2 a year. You know what I mean? But when you throw a 40 out there, it sounds like you just been out there just wilding out, right? But, and that people like, oh, so you done slept with 40. So that means you know how to do cartwheels on the thing. Like, no. I'm just saying. Sharonda said, I don't need to know about the past. I need to know what you learned. Okay. And if you're over it, shout out to Marcus. Are you married? Are you? Shantia said she didn't know. Are you married? Like, because people be lying.
Because they'd be like, you ain't never asked.
You ain't asked if I was married. Huh?
Uh-oh, did she freeze?
She froze. Yeah, I think she froze. But I like her positioning. I like her froze spot face. Sharonda said, I would also pay attention to his ways and how what he is when we are around other people because of low self-esteem and yeah, if I step out and I'm looking fly that night, don't feel like you got to be squeezing me all tight and being extra, because you ain't like that when I'm in my sweatpants. Like, I need sweatpants action all the time. Like, just because I look good tonight, extra good, don't mean you got to be insecure and try to keep your eyes on. People may want to talk to me, but you got to trust that I'm able to say I'm in a relationship, you know. But what do you think about that? Because I thought that was pretty powerful what she said. I would pay attention to his ways when we're around other people.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, that could give you a clue. So all this stuff really is subjective, and I think it's a starting point, because you can't just take one situation and just kind of judge the whole thing off of it. You got to look for different patterns. You got to look for, and my big thing is conversations, asking questions and listening to the answer. That's going to give you a clue as well. Yes, you look at actions, but you can't just let one situation dictate everything and just make it an absolute. If you're unclear about something, get clear about it, and don't let nobody tell you you're asking too many questions or you think too much. No, you're just not thinking enough. And so these are the things I need to know.
Trinity said, also, what aspirations and goals only take you so far? What steps are you taking? Man, that's like a 40-year-old rapper. Like, I like that. Also, aspirations and goals. Like, I know people would be like, yo, my mixtape dropping, I'm rapping, I'm doing all these things that I hate to say it, but all these things that folks in their 20s are hustling trying to do, they have to, and you ain't dropped that, you ain't done doing nothing but talking. Like, don't keep telling me all the things you about to do. If you telling me you about to be, like, for me, I'm telling you, I'm trying to be the, top realtor. I'm trying to make the top 100 list in this amount of years. You got to see me selling some houses. And if I ain't selling no houses, you got to see me actively engaged in real estate business. If you tell me you about to drop a mixtape and you out here rapping, I need to see you doing some shows. Okay? You can do it for free. I need to see you doing something. Carlina said these questions have to come in doses and in good timing because people may feel like they're being interviewed. I agree with that. I asked the man about his credit and he goes, he probably had a 350. Maybe he had bad credit, or maybe he felt like I was a gold digger. I don't know. But I flat out said, so what's your credit score? Hello, everybody. Hey, Adarian said that's the first question, but what will you feel when somebody asks you, like, hey, so what's your credit score? Is that a safe question to ask? What's your credit score?
Can be, because if that's your goal, if you trying to build and you want to make sure that if that's important to you, I think it's a fair question. Yeah. And then back to like what she was talking about, bombarding people or feeling like an interview. Should it come naturally or what do you say, organically? Sure, but sometimes you just got to ask a question, and if they feel like they're being interviewed, if they speak up and say something like that, think about what's triggering them. Mm-hmm. Why does this feel like an interview? Or if you're talking about yourself, if you feel like you're being interviewed, because sometimes it is the way that people say it. And then a lot of times when people ask you questions without providing you information, then that's when it begins to feel like an interview and you feel like you're just being vulnerable and they're not. And that's not a good feeling. So I'm wondering if maybe that's what it is, like just question after question after question. Well, give me a little bit of information about you too, so that we can kind of make this even. So that way I can know what's a conversation. Exactly.
Yeah. And I'm not, okay, so let me say this, credit scores are important to me, but people take hits on their credit for a multitude of reasons, especially people getting out of relationships. Like, I know people who, got a divorce and they went bankrupt after that because they was counting on two incomes and something happened and things changed. So for me, credit scores is not, now, I got good credit. I can say that out loud, right? But credit scores it's not a deal breaker for me. It's about the story. Okay, I ask you what's your credit score and you tell me, right now it's a 550, but I just went through a divorce a year and a half ago. A lot of stuff got sent to collections, but I'm working on it and I'm just trying to get myself back on track, or whatever the case may be. Depending on it, it could be an honest situation that needs to be discussed, but I don't think that you should feel totally insecure. Now, if you're just bad at managing money, you just bad at managing money. But what's your situation? If somebody asks you your credit score, tell them. I be late every week. I'm late every month on everything. Sue said, Raven says, what are they looking for? Do you want to date with a purpose? So making sure that when you start those dates, we know why we're dating. Are we dating to get somewhere? Or are we dating to get to the bedroom? So that was something Raven said was important. Janet said, do you like to travel? What do you do for fun? And most definitely not talking about sex. So beyond the bedroom, how do you like to entertain yourself? Do you like to travel? What countries have you been to? Or what states have you been to? Because, not everybody can go to different states, but let's say I live in, a lot of my people live in Douglasville. Have you been to Atlanta? Have you been to, because some people live in major cities and haven't even went outside of that area yet. You know what I mean? Let's go to Florida. Let's go to South. But what is it that inspires you? What do you like to do for fun? Because watching football Monday, Sunday, Thursday, that may not be appealing to me. Chris said, hey, Chris, that's my boo. It may not seem important in the beginning of a relationship, but long term, what location do you want to plant roots when you retire? Maybe this applies more to service members since we moved throughout our career. Yes. Where do you want to go home to? And I know it's a lot of Navy people here. If you're dating and you're dating with intention, you're dating with the purpose, asking those questions like, hey, where do you want to be at? my family is in Georgia. Nina's family is in New Jersey. I knew I wasn't trying to move to New Jersey and to be with and be around, her family all the time. I have my family close by. And the same thing for her. She wanted to be next to her family. So we said, we ain't moving near neither one of our families. Let's find another place that we can make home. And hopefully we enjoy it when we get there. We're working on it. But yeah, Chris, I agree with that. That's a good question.
It's a little, we do got a different perspective than we used to move.
Mm-hmm.
She's right about it. But you're right. If you're with somebody that hadn't been in the military, isn't in there, then really getting that feel for, okay, because it might be, we could just up and, well, I'm not gonna say all the time, but you might be more prone to want to get up and move, where the thought will come into your mind, whereas the other person is like, oh, this is where I'm at. I never even thought about leaving.
Janet said he can treat her good, but Janet don't want no mama's boys, period. Oh, she was talking about the mama question. Shonda said that's very important, because if you are disrespectful to your mama, you would definitely disrespect me. Said, well, how well does he or she communicate? How well does he or she communicate is very important. If they let me cancel that. How well do they communicate? That's important. Ayana came on. What's up, Ayana? What's up, Shannon? A lot of people entered. They do be lying. People will lie. Yeah. I'm trying to get back to the questions. It's very important on how you're being treated around friends. Yeah, how do they treat you around your friends? I think I took the perspective of if you go out and you go outside in public and now they trying to cuff you out tight because you looking good. But like Shantia said, just how do they treat you, period? Do they always put you on a pedestal, like treat you like you're the most important person, in their world anyway? You know what I mean? Or do they treat you like I don't even know why she came out tonight. Like she knew I wasn't trying to be around all that. You know what I mean? Like, do you feel like an outcast every time you enter the room? I know that on a person, that's something I had to work on. Like, making sure that I didn't treat Nina like she was just one of my homegirls, like she was just one of my friends whenever we went somewhere. Like, she ain't the same as everybody else. So I had to make sure that I, was a little bit extra for her to feel secure in different scenarios, because I'm the more social person in our relationship. But yeah, I agree, Shantia. That's important. Shonda said, listening and watching will give you clarity. Yeah, shut up and watch. Sometimes people will only tell you what they think you want to hear. Yeah, especially with the question and answers. I think you got to find out more. Again, I'm going to ask you the question. I need clarification on your answer, but I also got to see it. I think that you have to do both. You got to watch. Angel said, what if they have a 300 credit score, but they still a good person, treat their family right, and the mixtape is selling? What if the mixtape is selling, but they just haven't broke it out yet? What you think, SheVaughn? The mixtape is selling.
That's what you want to do? I mean, everybody got to make their own life choices, right? No, but she's right. Do they even start at 300? Well, the credit score
300 is the starting point. 350, 300.
But let's just say it's low or whatever. Sometimes people don't have credit for one reason or another. They haven't built it up. Some people don't use it. Maybe they bought things on cash. They manage their money, whatever. So they might not have a high credit score because it's just you don't have anything, you haven't purchased anything. But no, I think that like we talked about earlier, that can be a factor. If that's important to you, make it known. But it's not that shouldn't be how you base your whole relationship on, like your credit score, because that's not going to do everything for you. You don't have a good
mixtape is selling to the point to where they can take care of themselves, they can pay their bills, they can pay their car note, they can sustain their lifestyle. I don't care what you do. Personally, if you can sustain your lifestyle by doing what you're doing and make you happy, I'm 100% okay with it. But if you're trying to sell a mixtape and you can't do nothing with that, we can't go out to eat, you can't pay your bills, you got to stay with me until you, like, at some point, I can have your back and I can help support your dreams. But at some point, it becomes I'm carrying you. And I want to be there to support you. But at some point, we have to find a balance in what does support look like and what does enabling look like. Because if you are focused on this mixtape and it ain't selling and you can't support this light bill, I think you should use the mixtape thing as a side hustle. That's just me. You know, you can keep doing the mixtape, but I'm gonna need that to be a something that you side hustle while and you working while you're doing it. Like I don't know, that's just me. At some point, you know. Huh?
That mixtape. I keep chuckling each time you talk about it.
You have to decide if you're about that life. Janet said, I had a 438 when I got with Byron. My husband, he showed me the way. And baby, my score didn't go under 7. God is good. He taught me finance. Because sometimes people can bring you through that. Like you start from somewhere. Like for me, you start from somewhere. It don't always have to be you where that other person is. But I need to know that you're working towards getting better. And if you over here with I don't know, I scrolled past a 500 credit score, and I'm trying to show you how to, you know, pay your bills on time, how to balance your budget, how to do these things. But you just keep going out there shopping at Ross. You keep going out there just being flagrant. Now I realize we don't have the same goals and we don't have the same mindset. So that at that point, but if you have a 500 credit score and you respect our relationship and we can work on these things, because I'm not a perfect person. There's going to be things that you are going to have to do to carry me through. And so if we can do that for each other, I feel like we can have a healthy relationship. But if you have a 500 credit score and you refuse to accept the help, or not even my help, you refuse to kind of get yourself together in that avenue, then I feel like that's going to be a conflict for me, and I ain't going to be able to say. But everybody starts from somewhere, regardless of what, you know, life hits people all the time, knock us down, you know, turns around, and we have to adjust to that. But you have to be ready to grow. You can't just stay where you are. What do you think, CheVaughn?
No, I agree with you, because at the end of the day, like if you think, well, I don't know, some people think differently. But if we're being realistic, I'll just take myself for example. I didn't ask my husband about no credit score.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I didn't. It's not like we sat down and compared credit reports or anything like that. Now, when it comes down, you want to buy something together, I think it is important if you're going to put your finances together. But if it's something that's real important to you, that's cool. But there's more to life than that, because, like I said, you just might not have credit, period. And that's why the score is low. But it's not the end all be all. You can get around that. So.
Yeah. And also, it ain't about the money. And we normally end the wind down a lot sooner. We're just having a conversation right now. And if you guys are happy with the conversation, we're going to keep rolling. But to me, it ain't all about the money. Like, real talk, you know, we can figure that out together. And that's what I feel like relationship is about. Like, you know, yeah, I'm talking about the mixtape. But my whole thing is it's all about us being ready to equally contribute to the household. And I don't believe in 50-50. I mean that if I have to work 50, 60 hours a week to make sure all the bills are paid, your 50-50 may be to be at home and just making sure my life is easier when I get done with working, or vice versa. You know, if you my husband and you out and you working, cutting concrete all day or whatever your job may be, when you get home and I ain't working, I may need to make sure you got hot food on it, you got your clothes clean and all. Everybody have their things to contribute, and there is no absolute for anything. There is no like you have to have an 800 or I ain't messing with you. You know, you got to have 50K in the bank or I ain't messing with you. Like, no, where are you right now? And how are we gonna build from where you are? How are we gonna build each other up together? And I say each other up together.
You're absolutely right, because you got to remember, relationships should be about being a partnership, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't necessarily mean equal as in I do this and you do the same thing. That's not what it means. It means, what are we looking at for the greater good of the relationship? What do you contribute from your aspect where you can handle, or what you're good at? What can I contribute from what I'm good at? And that makes a whole relationship right there. You know, you'll hear a lot of people talking about, like you said, the 50-50 or the roles. You must do this and that person must do that. It's not absolute. I think whatever works in your relationship might be a little bit different than the person next to you, and that's okay.
Yeah. Or Pastor Mel said you have to have a common ground. Trina said, here I thought it was because of the warm Florida hats. She was talking about me saying, we ain't moving to New Jersey. Shantia, who also talked about the credit score, Shantia said that credit score is that important to her, or why you need to know my credit score. Shantia said, are you looking for a long-term relationship or just a side piece? Yep, need to know that. Erica said, do you want kids and how many? I knew I only wanted 2 kids. So that's an important question. Like, do you want kids? How important is that to you? You know what I mean? I think that's an very important question. But what happens when you get in this? We can go on and on. What happens when you get in a relationship and you try to have kids and you realize that there's fertility issues? You know, how do we maneuver from that? But I think that's another conversation. Love Mika, both of our best friends. She said, "Hey y'all, me and CheVaughn share BF." Pastor said, "You have to make your someone special feel special, even in a crowd full of people." Chris said, "True," because I told her that's my boo. She knows she my boo. But pop the trunk and sell them tapes, baby. She said, "Credit is power." Mel said, you can build up bad credit, but you can't build with the person who chooses to have bad character or a bad attitude. Yeah, you can build up bad credit. I honestly think that you can build from anywhere, no matter how bad your situation is in any area of your life. I think that if you have a desire to build and grow and be better in that area, you can. Like if you have a health issue, you have a weight issue, you have a finance issue, you have anger issues, it don't matter how bad it is. If you have a desire to make it better, you can. And if you don't have a desire to make it better, that's fine too, but that other person have a choice whether or not they're going to accept you with that or not. You know what I mean? Just my thought.
Definitely. No, I agree with you, because everybody, like you said, it's nothing that's ever too far gone, nothing that's ever so bad that it can't change. It always can. Yeah. It's just a matter of, but you can't make the other person. They gotta want to, you know. And then you might have to accept some outside help or some behavior change, you know. So yeah, it's never too far gone. Nothing in relationships ever too far gone.
Shantia said, "Do you have your own car, home, job, goals? Like, what do you have? And like, how far off can you be?" I was talking to somebody about who was it? The lady is a billionaire. It's a woman who was a billionaire. I was talking to one of my sisters, and she was like, I was like, she dating so and so, and he a 300 millionaire, but does he look like she chump change, or like what does that look like? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. But do you have your own stuff? Like, what are you bringing to the table for us to build with? And again, if you want to, if you got your own house, you got your own car, you got a great job, and you want to bring in a man or a woman who don't have that, that's fine too. But it's important for you to know where they are and for you guys to meet each other where you are and determine what kind of goals are important for you to build together.
Yeah, and it's important that the other person doesn't feel like insecure about it, because they might, you know, because even if you say, okay, you know, I have all these different things and I'm willing to, I accept you how you are, you might not have as much or whatever, but it's okay because I have it and I can cover it. If the other person is just like, oh my goodness, you know, I feel like this, it's going to be rough. Yeah. So they have to change perspective on it. So either they're going to have to go ahead and step up, you know, make those changes, or accept the fact that this is just the area where you can support. I can support you in another area, but it's just simply a choice. You know, you both have to agree on that.
And if you are insecure because you realize you don't have anything, but you want to be in this relationship, fix yourself. Like, you know, you ain't making all the money. You don't have that same level of education, but this person loves you anyway. You can either leave that relationship because you are so insecure, or you can use that relationship to help build yourself up and fix whatever it is that's making you feel insecure about it. Erica said, absolutely. Everyone wasn't taught about credit as a child. Hello. Yeah. If you are serious about the relationship, help build each other up. And I think that's the tone for a lot of this. Janet said, you just have to be willing to build each other in areas where we lack. Trina said, if this pandemic has taught us anything, life happens and things change. What's important is that we can bounce back and we can grow from anything as a team. Chris said, you just have to be willing and put in the work. Janet said, I enjoyed you all. Good night. Yes, it's late on the East Coast. Phone died and Amir's getting and everything. Okay. Sue said, if they got too many ain't gots, then I ain't got the conversation. Hey, this was fun, CheVaughn. What you think? You have a good time tonight?
I appreciate you. Thanks for inviting me on.
Thank you so much, CheVaughn. Tell the people who wasn't here at the beginning. I know you are author. You have 2 books that you authored, reference relationship and being a relationship strategist. For anybody who's interested in knowing where to follow you, where to reach you, how to reach you, can you let them know? And also just want to put your books back out there for the people.
Okay. So on Facebook, if you see on there it's Relationship Strategist CheVaughn. If you're looking at the define me as @Coach CheVaughn, CheVaughn. On Instagram, it's The Word Perspective. That's the name of my company. If you want to get on a call, I do offer complimentary calls for 20 to 30 minutes. Like if you just want to talk about some things and figure out whether or not we can work together, then you go to bit.ly/The Relationship Strategist. bit.ly/The Relationship Strategist. You get on my calendar, let's talk about it and see if there's something I can help you with. And then if you give me a second, I'll get the name of the books because I have it right here.
I got one of them right here. This is one of CheVaughn's book. It's called Possibilities Unlimited. The best way to get this book is to reach out to CheVaughn directly. I got mine off Amazon, but we know that Amazon take a big cut. But if you are interested and you don't know how to reach out to CheVaughn, you can always contact me and I'll be happy to get that information. I can be reached at Ronesha_Nation on Instagram. All of my social medias are Ronesha Nation in some way or form. My email is Ronesha.Nation@gmail.com, so you can always get me. But reach out to me and I'll help you get access to CheVaughn. CheVaughn, you got your other book?
It's called Just Say No, 14 Transformational Keys to Set Healthy Boundaries in Business and Relationships.
Yeah, and you have it first. Again, my name is Ronesha Nation. Again, I can be reached anywhere. If you know anybody looking to buy or sell real estate in California, please let me know. That's my shameless plug, and I ain't mad about it. Thank you guys for being here tonight. We definitely went a lot longer than we normally do, but you guys hung in there, and we had a great conversation because of it. Thank you again, CheVaughn. It was a privilege and an honor to have you here. Trina, I love you. I will see you guys next week. Same. Oh, next week is the 8th. I think next week we have Melanie on. No, next week we have Joe on. Joe owns a online store. She does a lot of Etsy work, and she has built a very, very, very lucrative online store. I know there's a lot of people that's interested in Amazon buys and sells, and I think that she'll have a lot of great information about business, getting business started. So be back here next week, 5:30. Promise we probably won't go this long, but nonetheless, if we do, I hope it is working for you guys. I love y'all. Have a good